If you are learning to drive, one of the hardest things to understand is speed. Because 1 second you're being told make progress, don't slow people down. But you're also being told slow down, don't rush. So what does the examiner actually want? Are you driving too slowly or too quickly? Are you making the examiner feel safe or unsafe? That's what this video is really about. Because driving fast is not really about speed. It's about whether your brain is ahead of the car. Now at 20 to 30 miles per hour, mistakes are forgiving. It's very easy for our brain to work at 20 to 30 miles per hour, or a lot easier. But when we start to get 50, 60, 70 miles per hour, our brain really struggles to keep up. And probably one of the most important things you can learn in driving, and that is that no one likes surprises. Driving is not like a birthday party. Ask anyone how they feel when they're driving and they get a surprise. Someone pulls out on you or does something completely unexpected. Look, here's an example. Focus. Really important. You don't want to miss this. Now, I'm really sorry about that. I promise there won't be any more of those. But the point stands. If you knew this was coming, would you have been as scared? No, of course not. Because you would have felt prepared and you knew what was happening ahead. And driving is exactly the same. The real problem with this is if something catches us off guard, our body automatically reacts before our brain has yet to catch up. The faster you go on a road, the more your brain has to get ahead of your car. Because the quicker, surprises are going to catch up with you. And as we know, surprises are bad. So we're going down here and we're looking for any signs of anything happening ahead. Any clues. And then we start reacting early. Now tell me when you see something. I'm doing 50, okay. There is a roundabout sign, so that's our first clue. So I'm checking my central mirror and I've just eased off the gas. I'm completely off the gas and I'm braking. I'm dropping it straight from 5th into 3rd gear, really, really early, letting the car naturally slow down with the clutch back up. Then I'm dropping it into 2nd gear really early, and this is just getting me all the way down from that speed more naturally and helping me adjust to the correct speed for the situation. Anytime we're driving down a road, if anything bad happens, the first question to always ask yourself is, was I going too fast? Now that's not saying there's anything wrong with going fast on a road. You know, some roads are designed to go fast on. The problem always comes when we get to a hazard, such as a roundabout or a junction. That's when we've gone too fast. And the problem is normally not the speed, it's the fact we haven't prepared for the hazard early enough. Now I know I want to turn right here and I can see a sign saying there's a right turn coming up. So that's my first clue that I need to change my gear and slow my car down. So I'm getting into 2nd gear really early, which is making my car a bit noisier, but it's encouraging my car to slow down to the correct speed for the junction, because I know in this car, 2nd gear is always the one. And one more time, eyes need to be ahead of the car, brain ahead of the car, seen, big green sign, I know what's coming up now, which means I can prepare. So I'm already dropping into 3rd gear, and as I get a bit closer, I'm even going back on the gas a little bit, touching the gas, keep touching the gas. Lights are changing to red, I'm dropping it into 2nd early, letting the car engine brake a little bit more. Your aim is to use the pedals as little as possible, and when you get that gear down early, it means you don't have to use the pedals, including the brake, as much as you would if you stay in a high gear all the time. Half the learners I speak to don't have a clue what gears are actually for. Ask yourself, what are the gears for? Why did you choose a higher gear? The main reasons for choosing a higher gear are you're going to save fuel. High gear, less fuel. Low gear, more fuel, but more control. When choosing your gear, you've got one of two focuses. One, I want to save fuel, or two, I want more control. Now, if you're on a roundabout or any hazard such as this, you're always going to choose the control. The only time you're going to save the fuel is when you're on a nice, long, straight road with little to no hazards. For instance, in this situation, I'm looking ahead and I can see there's a red light and there's cars, traffic backed up. So is there any point to me going into 3rd gear to then come back down? No, not at all. I could just ease off the gas and by the time I get there, everyone should have gone. Now, it might be worth going into 3rd gear, but there is a red light. So again, I'm not going to commit for too long. The light's gone green, so I'm getting my speed back up to 30. Why not? I might as well save a bit of fuel, hadn't I? Would it matter if I chose to do this in 2nd gear? No. No, I would get 1 fault for the entire test for environmental driving. So from a test perspective, not important. from a fuel perspective, I am going to use a bit more fuel. Now, your gear selection when you get to a hazard such as a roundabout is really important because it's going to make or break the roundabout. Now, I want to go left at this roundabout, so I'm getting my signal on, I've checked my mirror, and I'm dropping it straight into second with the clutch back up. Now, I don't know if you can hear the car is engine braking, it's controlling my speed. I don't need to use any pedals really, touching the brake briefly, and I'm looking, there is a car there, and now there's space, and you see, I didn't even have to stop. If I was in third gear, that would have been a complete mess. What the aim is not to rush up gears as quickly as possible. Because yes, you may save slightly more fuel, but you're going to feel so much less in control. And there's a reason that a lower gear is more controlled for the car, because it's going to make you feel in more control. And when you feel in more control, guess what? You're going to feel more confident, and then you're going to pass your driving test. Because if you feel in control, you're going to look in control, and the examiner's also going to feel like you're in control and confident. As I say, if you're prepping for your driving test, you're trying to figure out, are you actually ready or not? It's a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Have a go with my free app. Made a free app just to try and give you an idea of what do you need to do to be ready for your driving test. How confident do you feel? You can take it to your driving instructor, you can show mum and dad. You can even do a mock test with it if you want to. Have a look there and leave some feedback for me in the comments if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. Confidence is control, not speed. Lots of you, when you're learning to drive, think that driving faster makes you look more confident. But that's completely wrong. Confidence is actually feeling in control at any speed. If you're feeling out of control and you're thinking this is too fast, you are definitely not going to be looking confident. It also means the passenger feels safe. And who's going to be the passenger on your driving test? You guessed it. Driving fast isn't confident. Feeling in control of the car is confidence. And that's what a lot of people get confused with, because it's very easy to tell if someone's confident or not. And your job, apart from keeping you safe, is to keep the passenger feeling safe. And who's the passenger going to be on your driving test? The examiner. So if you're flying into bends, what the examiner and that passenger would consider too fast, remember they can drive as well, so they know what an appropriate speed is, you're going to scare the crap out of them. And if you scare the crap out of them, are you going to pass your driving test? No, you're not. Now we can see here there's a sharp bend sign. The problem with these sharp bend signs are they're a bit of a pain in the ass because they don't actually tell you what speed you need to be at. They're just letting you know it's a sharp bend. So does it mean sharp bend 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, 40, 50, 60? We don't know. That's the problem you have to have, and that's why the sign is a good memory jogger, a good wake up, heads up, there's something coming, but you still have to use your eyes to look at the bend. And your general rule is still, how close is the furthest end of the road that I can see to me? Now, as you can see, our bends, our vision is getting further and further down the road. So for this straight bit, I can put my foot down, get the car up to speed until I get towards this bend, and I'm just easing off because I can't see much further. Okay, I could see straight again, so again, back to 52 miles per hour. Now, it is quite narrow, so I'm just going to ease off as the cars are coming past. Just less space, less speed. Cars are gone, nothing there, no reason I can't make some progress. Get going. So I'm back to 60. Again, a bend coming up, so I've just eased back off, and that's all it is. I'm not wasting any fuel because I'm not having to brake. I'm just coming back off that gas pedal. And that leads us on to point 4. When you see a speed sign, that is not telling you this is the target. Think about what a speed sign is telling you. It's a do not sign. You do not go above this speed. It does not mean you have to go and try and get to this speed. Now, it can be really confusing when we come to national speed limit signs, because a national speed limit sign is like the lazy speed sign. It's you need to use more common sense on this road because we aren't putting signs up all the way down. And they often do that on roads that aren't regularly used if they're not a primary route. Now, right now we are driving on a national speed limit road. This is legally, you're allowed to go up to 60 miles per hour, but we don't drive to the speed limit. We drive to the environment, to the road, to our vision. And that's the main thing, our vision. And that just means if your bend is getting closer to you, like in this situation, you need to slow down. The further you can see down the road, the faster you can go. Now, we've got a big clue here that there's a big sharp bend here. The closer you get to that corner, the more you just need to ease off that gas until you can start seeing around the bend, like in this situation. And again, I'm approaching this bend, but I can't see around the bend until I get to here. Once you can start seeing around the bend, you can decide whether you want to keep some gas on or you want to even speed up. Again, another bend, so we're just easing off here. But as you can see, none of this national speed limit road is safe to do national speed limit. One of the hardest things for you guys to understand when you're trying to do your driving test and your driving lessons is understanding the difference of when we need to get up to speed and when we need to slow down. It's really hard because one second you're saying speed up, next second you'll be told slow down. Really got to base it on space. That is your main priority. Is there space around you? Good way to think about it is doors width, and that's the best way to really judge when do I make progress and when don't I. The general rule is if a road's long and straight with no hazards, that's good for making progress. If you can see any hazards or bends or anything that's going to slow you down, that is not a good time to be making progress. That turns into survival. So think survival driving or progress driving. Car here, hazard, that turns into survival. There is no bad speed. You can't go too slow for a hazard. You do what you want with the hazard as long as you feel safe. This is what people struggle to understand. When there is a hazard involved, parked cars, roundabouts, you can't really go too slow. No one ever gets a mark for going too slow on a roundabout or too slow in a hazardous situation. People get marked down for going too slow when the road's nice and clear ahead and there's no reason to not make the progress. Now this road we're on here is also a 30-mile-per-hour road, but what can we see? Parked cars. Can we stay a door's width from the parked cars with the oncoming car as well? That's a bit more tighter than I'd like. So I'm down to 25, just naturally slowing down a little bit. There's no way I can keep a door's width from these parked cars while keeping safe with the oncoming cars. I have moved away a little bit, but would 30 miles per hour be appropriate? No, because I'm going to be going too quick to adjust for oncoming cars. I'm going to start to panic. Much easier. Now here you go. Trying to stay that doors width. I am in the middle because I can see there's no oncoming cars, but I've also got my speed down. Why? Because it gives my brain time to prepare, time to get ahead of the car. That's what it's all about. Brain ahead. Okay, again, this is a 30-mile-per-hour road, guys. Should I be doing 30? No. Why? Doors width. We need space from the parked cars. If you can't keep the space, you slow the car down. And it's not you personally, it's just our judgment as humans is rubbish at judging distance of giant 2-ton metal machines next to parked cars. Okay, now look, there's nothing ahead. There's space to the cars. I'm up to 30. Perfect. Because I can see far down the road. It's all about where you can see, how far you can see. And I've got time to react and slow down the second I do see a car. There you go. Seeing a car, slow down, second gear, clutch back up. Okay, now look at this. I'm actually going to stop and let him go through there. Go on then. He's letting me go through there. And then I'm staying out. What a champ. And again, this situation here, what's happening, he's turning, so I'm still in second gear here, keeping that doors width 20 miles per hour. Now, if we look at this example, we're on a road, it's fairly straight. We can see quite far down the road. The lane's really wide, it's even got a second lane. This road is clearly made for making progress, getting from A to B reasonably quickly. So here we want to get our speed up. So if you are learning to drive, the question you should be asking is not, can I just do the speed limit? The speed limit does not just tell you what is safe right now. The road decides a safe speed. The situation decides a safe speed. I mean, hell, the weather decides the safe speed. National speed limit sign does not decide the safe speed. If you want to get a better idea of what the driving test involves, have a look at my free app here, the Driving Test Ready app. It's just going to give you a better idea of what you actually need to be good at on your driving test, and you can also do your own mock test with it if you want to. I would love some feedback on it as well, so please get any info on it in the comments because I just want to improve it. I want to help you guys pass your driving test. Good luck. I am Josh, and I'll see you all soon.